Hello everyone, Simon Bard here, and welcome to a new movie review. Here we come to the next film in the Harry Potter franchise. And it's one where Chris Columbus is one of the producers. It presents a much more darker tone, has more silly elements, and has more of a complex setup. And this Potter film is the start of that and more, which I found to be alright. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. After Harry thought he used magic to blow up his Aunt Marge at the Dursleys, he runs off and grabs a ride on a night bus to the Leaky Cauldron, where he not only learns that blowing up his aunt didn't get him expelled, but of a prisoner who escaped from Azkaban named Sirius Black, who is known to be a supporter of Voldemort and is out to kill Harry. Yet on the train to Hogwarts, Harry witnesses a Dementor, one of the guards of Azkaban that's out finding Sirius, and Remus Lupin not only saves Harry from it, but becomes the next Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher. And Hagrid had become a substitute teacher for teaching mythical creatures, with a hippogriff named Buckbeak as one of them. And all the while, Harry grows a bond with Lupin, and learns how to defend against the Dementor, while also learning more about Sirius Black and who he really is. Now, since this part of the film had begun a whole new trend of elements that will be prominent in later films, it tends to lead to some good things and some not-so-good things. The not-so-good stuff are mainly with how it's presented. The pacing sometimes feels inconsistent, like we don't spend much time with the Dursleys, yet the last third, from when the main leads visit Hagrid's hut onward, is the longest act I've ever seen for a Potter film. Not to mention that most of the dialogue is forgettable, some scenes rush faster than others or are pointless, and while silly moments like the night bus and the Bogart are fine scenes, they sometimes feel unnecessary for the tone the film's going for. Also, if Harry said that puffing up his aunt is going to expel him, then what about the very opening where he practices magic by using his wand as a source of light? Wouldn't that get him expelled? But the film balances out with plenty of good stuff. The effects are way more better than before with Buckbeak the Griffin, the Dementors, and the Marauders map. I also like how the paintings play a part in this, and not just be part of the background, literally. John Williams' music has more original pieces than just reusing previous tracks, from some of them being somber and heartfelt, to being wild and silly, to being quite intense. And some of the characters are nicely done. Lupin would be my favorite in this film, mostly for having a nice bond with Harry as well as having more of a lightness than the previous Defense Against the Dark Arts teachers. The actor for Dumbledore, from this film onward, has more of an edge than Richard Harris. And to where Harris felt more like an elderly grandfather, this Dumbledore felt more strict and serious of what he's saying. Sure, he does offer a few quirks, but for the most part he's fine as is. And let's not forget the freeze-frame ending of the film, which kind of gave me a chuckle. And the new cast of characters from these actors have done a very fine job. Gary Oldman plays Sirius Black, David Lewis plays Professor Remus Lupin, Michael Gambon plays Albus Dumbledore, Emma Thompson plays Professor Sybil Trelawney, Timothy Spall plays Peter Pettigrew, Dawn French plays Fat Lady in Painting, Pam Ferris plays Aunt Marge, Jim Tavere plays Tom the Innkeeper, Lee Eagleby plays Stan Shoemake, Jimmy Gardner plays Ernie the bus driver, and Lenny Henry voices Shrunken Head. As a whole, this movie is alright. The characters are good, the story is fine, and the effects are pretty well done. Director Alfonso Cuarón had made an alright sequel for the Harry Potter franchise, with more dark moments than the last film, more conflict about Harry and his surroundings, and more intrigue with the wizarding world. Though at times some scenes pass by quickly, and once in a while the story would lose my interest in how it's shown. I wouldn't say it's one of the best Potter films, yet I wouldn't say it's one of the worst. It's mostly a middle-of-the-road film, which I would put in between the first and second film. And overall, it's fine and good, but it's nothing too amazing. So today, this movie we give a rating of 3 stars. So thank you for joining me. Like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Facebook or Twitter, support me on Patreon, and tune in next week for a new video.